So in this segment, we're going to be talking about British people leaving Spain, and they'll probably have to leave other EU countries as well. Spain is just one of the most notable ones for the amount of British people who immigrate to Spain, and we're not going to call them expats because that's not really what they are, is it? You know, they're immigrants. They've immigrated to Spain, and the word immigrant has a negative connotation in the UK because it's associated with Johnny Foreigner. Um, but I think, in my opinion, if we're going to use one word for people coming here from another country, we should use that same word for people leaving here to go to another country. So, it does say the word expat in a few of these articles, but we know what the real word is, people. We know. So, tears flow for Britons as they head home to avoid being deported as illegals in Spain. Brits this weekend across Spain leave the country for at least 180 days as they don't want to be Spanish residents or have been declined residency. And some of the things we're about to read are hilarious. So, what started out to be a dream in the sun has turned into a nightmare for thousands of Brits who didn't wish to be illegally registered as a resident in Spain. Legally registered as a resident of Spain. So, by not being legally registered, Brits until now have gone under the radar because of freedom of movement, so they could go there on the sly and basically get away with not paying taxes. So Brits have gone under the radar when it came to paying Spanish taxes and other contributions, but Brexit has changed that. Now they have to be out of Spain by the 31st of March, when they will be deemed as illegals, as illegal immigrants, and deported anyway as their 90-day stay ends. So, this video will be coming out after after this date, the 31st of March, but just giving you this interesting video I found. So, it's not just tax dodgers that are affected. Some immigrants have been declined residency despite applying, whilst others amazingly missed the deadline to apply, believing nothing would actually happen until cops started preparing deportation plans in anticipation for the deadline. So, this is a case of some people not being given residency, maybe for normal reasons. Some of them not giving residency because they decided to evade taxes and therefore may not have qualified, because you have to make a certain amount of money in some cases to get residency, and some people missing the deadline because they decided to be dumb. So, Spain's police force and authorities are expecting to deport 500 UK citizens within the first week, with targets already earmarked to be picked up and deported home, knowingly to the authorities not having the correct paperwork to remain. And I'm not going to be one of those people who says, oh, this is wrong for the Spanish police to do this, because at the end of the day they are just doing their job in this case, not doing anything wrong. But what I would say is, if this was Britain and EU residents were getting deported like this, British people would probably cheer it on. So, although a small exodus of Brits has started this week as they head back to Britain to beat the deadline. So, this guy here, Anthony Cook, this was quite interesting, saying the Spanish dream is over for me. It's time to get back to Cardiff. It's been a blast by the new regulations. These aren't really new. It's just because Britain's no longer an EU member and doesn't have freedom of movement. So I've made it impossible for me to stay. I don't have enough credentials to become a resident. It was so easy before. Get your funds in from the UK, do a bit of cash hand jobs around the likes of Benidorm, and Bob was your uncle, and that's all changed now. Hey, don't be fooled by thousands of Brits, and some guys or others have been doing the same thing, especially in the entertainment industry. So he can't stay in Spain because he can't get residency because he didn't earn enough, because instead of declaring it, he decided to be a tax evader. So much for British people contributing massive amounts to the Spanish taxpayer when that amount should have been higher, considering that you got this guy and others committing tax evasion or avoision if you're Kent Brockman. So, says it's time to get home. He doesn't get deported and fined. He also says that I know loads of people who are going to stay thinking they won't get caught. I think they will, but they have said to me they are going to. They've said. He says I think they will get deported or get caught, but they will. They have said to me, how are you going to check everybody? But quite truthfully, I don't want to be looking over my shoulder. If they get away with it, I will look at coming back in 6 months. So him saying that, his friends or whoever he knows are saying that we're probably not going to get caught. They're not going to check everyone. And then this guy here, Anthony Cook, saying, well, if that's the case, he might go back. But Spanish police, be on the lookout for Anthony Cook then. You know, they cite, you know, these people are citing the lucky men who are illegal in the main from Africa and never get rounded up. But I think Spain and the EU will target Brits due to politics. And they're saying, yo, look at the black and brown people here illegally. You know, why don't you target them? That's what they're saying here. So this is another person here, Sean Cromber. This is also hilarious. He says, yes, I voted out, but I didn't realise it would come to this. My application has been rejected. We are on our way home. The wife's in tears. She's distraught, if I'm honest, and I'm not too happy at the prospect of returning back to the UK. I thought you love this country, mate. I thought you people love this country. You know, you voted leave, and you didn't even live in the UK. That's embarrassing right there. You know, I've loved living on the Costa del Sol, and after 5 years, can't believe it's come to this. The thing is, right, people who have used freedom of movement from the EU to come here to the UK, right, some of them probably enjoy living here as well, despite the fact that it's rainy most of the time. And so you decided to take that right away from them. So now that right is being taken away from you. How do you feel? Like an idiot? Because you should. You know, he says here, this guy Sean Cromber thinks Spain will regret chucking Brits out. You know, I'm sure they're going to call up Sean Cromber and be like, yo, Sean, we made a big mistake. Come back, Sean. It's just, he's a joke. The deadline is only 4 days away now. This article was written a few days ago, and it's certainly going to be interesting to see what happens when the British become illegal immigrants in Spain, and we know British people don't like that. I read this article in the Express. The only thing of note is they claim that these are new rules when they're not. These are rules for third country, apparently according to The Guardian, which we're going to be discussing in a minute. But they look like they've just taken most of the quotes and stuff from this other article, which seems like plagiarism to me, but you know, it's whatever. So we see here, you know, apparently Spanish police force claim that they're not going to be rounding up people en masse and doing all this stuff, but they have warned people that you're only allowed to stay for 90 days if you're not a resident. While the visitor rules do not apply for British nationals settled in the EU lawfully, hundreds of, if not thousands, of unregistered British citizens in Spain could be affected because they couldn't get residency or they didn't apply for it. You know, whichever reason. These are people who have been flying under the radar for a long time when they should have been they should have registered their residence in the country and didn't for whatever reason. Tax reasons, buddy. Tax. If they're unable to prove that they were a resident before the 31st of December and get entitlement to remain in Spain, they now face a 90-day deadline to leave the country. Many still are planning to do the same and think the Spanish will either turn a blind eye or will take time to get their act together to enforce the law. They're kidding themselves. These rules are the rules that have applied to third country nationals for years, and the Spanish authorities have no catching up to do. So the Spanish police know the rules, and these are not new rules. They just apply to us now because we're outside the EU. That's an important distinction that people need to understand. British nationals living lawfully in Spain before the 31st of December are entitled to remain in the country permanently under the Brexit deal. If they choose to remain in Spain, however, they will have to become official residents and might be worried about their right to go home to access the NHS. So you've got people here who are scared about becoming Spanish nationals because they want to come back to use the NHS. I thought right-wingers were against health tourism. Surely they should be using the Spanish system. Like, what a ridiculous system to have implemented. Like any other third country citizens, the maximum period they can stay in Spain is 3 months unless they have a work, study or other kind of visa that allows them to stay longer. The government sources said Spain are merely following the rules governing visits and stays in its territory that apply to the UK as a non-EU country. So I'm surprised the government haven't made a bigger deal of this, you know, for optics. But you know, maybe they finally realised that, you know, that this is a battle we're not going to win, and maybe it's better to be honest with people rather than just lying. We've got this phenomenal interview. I cited this video in a video in the past, but yeah, this is hilarious. So we're just going to watch bits of this, and there is one gentleman here I feel bad for. I feel really bad for him, but let's just watch the video.
An hour from Alicante on the Costa Blanca. This is not Spain as the Spanish know it.
Oriela Costa, as they call it. It's all British.
If you walk about, you hear a lot of English spoken, do you?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Much more than Spanish.
I thought we expected people to integrate and learn the language. So why are they not speaking Spanish? What a joke.
Orihuela Costa has been likened to a giant retirement village. Rows of near-identical houses, home to perhaps one of the biggest concentrations of expat Brits anywhere.
Immigrants. Immigrants, pal.
And we just like the weather, don't we? It's really nice.
And it's February now and it's 20 degrees.
I know, yeah. Can't believe it, yeah.
But dispositions here are not as sunny as they once were.
We're here for 4 months.
4 months.
Extended holiday every year.
Bill wanted to leave the EU, but reality is now kicking in.
You know, he wanted to end things like pet passports for EU citizens, end freedom of movement. Now let's see what happens to him.
Knows pet passport would be voided by a no-deal Brexit. If it comes to pass, Bill and his wife Joyce won't be back. So you stopped coming for that reason?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Oh yeah, the dog would be first priority.
He's our priority.
Hundreds of thousands of British expats have settled in Spain, and some believe
Immigrants, pal. Immigrants.
they're too valuable to the Spanish economy to endure any real harm. But others are fearful.
All right, so we'll skip to the gentleman I feel bad for. I don't know how he voted, and part of me really doesn't care because it's just sad.
Goodness me.
Cut off. Splendid isolation.
Dave England is not well, and he is worried.
Well, I've got Parkinson's, which was diagnosed a couple of years ago. Had a heart attack just before Christmas. I've generalised arthritis.
And how much is your medication costing?
Medication's probably costing around €600-700 a month.
So who will pay for Dave's care in a no...
You know, €600 a month just for his medication. Like, he should not have to pay that much to get the medicines he needs to live. Like, it's ridiculous.
No-deal Brexit. The UK government is advising pensioners to take out private medical insurance. If it comes to...
That's awful advice because he would not be able to afford private medical insurance because of his age and also his health condition. It would cost him an arm and a leg to get private healthcare insurance. That's crappy advice, you know. Perhaps the British government should be doing more to step in to help people like him. I know I made that point about people coming back to use the NHS, but at the end of the day, these are, you know, British people who have decided not to live here, and they should be given the support that they need in order to live.
A point where private medical insurance is what's needed. Where does that leave you?
I'm cold. I've got no options there. I haven't slept properly in 2 years. I wake up sweating, I wake up wondering what's going on. I'm terrified.
That's a gentleman I really feel for because, you know, I don't think he'll live for long if he doesn't get the help he needs. If he has to go for private insurance, I don't think he's got a massive chance. And I hope that if he's still alive, I hope they do a follow-up interview with him to find out what's going on because there'll be a lot more examples like him out there. And, you know, I don't want to see any mean comments about the gentleman. I don't know how he voted and I don't care. We're going to see more examples of idiots right now. So let's go skip to them.
Believe ultimately nothing will change.
I don't think Spanish will turn English away because they're quite a big thing for their economy.
But Dave, who...
Right, so let's talk about that. So, you know, according to a study done by Oxford, I remember reading this a few years ago, migrants from the EU contribute £2,300 more to the exchequer each year in net terms than the average adult, the analysis for the government has found. And over their lifetimes, they pay in $78,000 more than they take out in public services and benefits, while the average UK citizen's net lifetime contribution is zero. So I don't want to pit EU citizens against British people, but point being is that we wanted to get rid of these people. We want to lower the amount of people that could come here when they're paying in more into the coffers than we are, you know, than British people are. So, you know, the argument the lady made there about the economics doesn't fly because we made that stupid decision. And, you know, EU people from the EU are leaving. Yeah, you know, that's going to be less, potentially get a lot less money in the coffers. And it's our own fault. You know, we got hit by that mirror force. Yugi, take it away.
Your own attack will be your downfall. I activate Mirror Force.
Bought his Spanish holiday home after voting to leave.
This is my personal favourite story from this whole thing. That lady there showed her arrogance, but this guy's even funnier.
No longer wants to. What's the biggest thing you think you've learned that swayed you?
Well, the freedom of movement in Europe, you know, for the proper Europeans.
So you want to keep your own freedom of movement?
The proper Europeans. He wants to keep freedom of movement for the proper Europeans. Like, who are the proper Europeans? Because if anything, we're not even on the continent. Are we? Should that mean we're not proper Europeans? Like, what a joke this man is.
So that you can come back and forth to here in the UK.
Yes, I know it might be selfish, but I think on reflection now, we'd probably vote for, if we had a referendum, probably the other way now.
Vote to remain now.
I bet you this guy votes Tory because once it's impacted him, that's when he realises, oh, we made a mistake here. And we're talking about that in a different story when it comes to cladding. But I would not be surprised if this guy, now he's realised that Brexit is impacting him, he's like, oh, I don't like it now. I don't like it.
To remain.
You might have shot yourself in the foot a little bit.
Might have done, yes. Very well have done.
You did. You know, you don't need the narrator to tell us, he did. And I wouldn't mind seeing a follow-up interview to see, you know, what's going on over there, who's still there, who managed to get residency, because this video is from 2019, so they've had ample time to get residency and stuff like that. But yeah, what more can you say apart from let me know what you think in the comments below, like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.